Here we are then. Another IPL is upon us. It seemed just like the other day that we were in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, bringing you one of the finest IPLs conducted, one of the finest IPLs played. It was a resounding success. We were all very happy. And here we are, a few months later, getting set for another. Just been looking at the schedule for the IPL, 9th of April to the 30th of May. And the first thing that strikes you is yet another format. It's the reality of our times that we must constantly adjust, that we must constantly adapt, even if you are one of the great leagues of the world already. It's only just 12, 13 years old, but already one of the great leagues of the world. But you have to constantly adjust. And so this time, completely new format. It's what they call a cluster caravan format. It means you play a lot of games in two venues, then the whole caravan moves two more venues, and finally you end with fifth and sixth venues before the playoffs in Ahmedabad. So what is the first thing that strikes you about that? There are no home and away games again, and that's a big loss because home games just carry a different atmosphere about them. They're one of the great strengths of the IPL, but these are the times that we live in. We still haven't got over this dreaded COVID that's now disrupted two IPLs in a row. And so because you cannot have home and away games, you have to do what is next best, which is nobody gets a home advantage. Because when you have 8 teams playing in 5 venues plus Ahmedabad, which doesn't have a team, then it's not fair that anybody gets a home game. So here's another challenge, but a challenge that I think was forced upon, and a challenge that we have to agree with, that there are no home games. We play these games in clusters. The tournament kicks off in Mumbai and Chennai. So you play 10 games in each city. Then you go on, you play 16 games in Delhi and Ahmedabad. Then you go back, you play 20 games in Bangalore and Kolkata with the playoff in Ahmedabad. What I like about this is that each team has to travel only 3 times. That is an issue in these COVID times. One of the reasons the teams enjoyed playing in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah was once you settled in there was no travel. You just drove to games and came back. Travel in COVID times is something the teams were worried about. So only 3 travels. There will be chartered planes. You'll go from one watertight bubble, hopefully, to another watertight bubble through charter planes. And this is something that they need to be careful about, and I'm sure they will after what happened in the PSL. Given also what happened in the PSL, I'm very happy to see that there will be no spectators early on. And you might be surprised that I'm saying that, given I've been such a fan of the atmosphere that it's so symbolic, it's so typical of the IPL, but this tournament cannot afford to have any issues with COVID. And so much as I love the fans, I'm actually very happy that we are starting off with no crowds. And maybe as we go along, if you find there's more vaccinations, we're a little more comfortable, then you might have some crowds coming in later. But I'm perfectly comfortable with the fact that there will be no crowds early on. So there you are, no home advantage, as little travel as is possible, and no spectators. But it leads to some very unusual situations, you know. Mumbai, for example, Mumbai Indians, 5 times champion. They love to play with their 2 overseas fast bowlers, plus Bumrah, plus Pandya on these bouncy tracks that they like at the Wankhede Stadium. They're playing 5 games in Chennai. And Chennai Super Kings, who like to play those kind of games, you know, Dhoni loves these slow bowlers on those 140-ish kind of 140, 150 kind of tracks. They're playing 5 games in Mumbai. So once again, the toughest T20 league in the world is going to demand adjustment from its players. It's going to demand versatility from its players. And that's going to be something else to look forward to. So we have our annual summer fix. We have our annual summer joy. I'm just hoping that the bubbles will be really watertight, that we will not have any trouble with COVID at all. The IPL goes to great lengths to ensure that it's well conducted. And I'm looking forward to a fantastic tournament, getting used to a new format. But if you have to have an IPL and that's how it can be played, then so be it. Another new expression for us to learn. A cluster caravan method. I hope it goes well. As all of you know, I love the IPL. I love the idea that India owns the IPL, and I'm looking forward to another fantastic tournament.